You're right.
It'd be like that sometimes, you know?
Hold on.
Wait for it.
Ah!
That's what we live for on this podcast.
Woo! Crack cocaine.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm going to put this over here.
Right, so you don't smack it.
So I don't smack it and waste all of it like I did that one time. But hey, man, it is Sunday after all.
Football Sunday.
Football Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Well, we can't say it. The Sunday of the big game because apparently you have to pay the rights to say Super Bowl on every other platform.
Huh.
It's the Sunday of the big game.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to very carefully tiptoe around that legal issue.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, not like it matters. It is what it is. But yeah, man. You ready?
Yeah.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Second City Kids podcast, episode number 148.
1, 4, and an 8.
Oh, yeah. We are back on a beautiful day on the south side of Chicago, Illinois. 55 degrees, the Sunday of the big game.
Of the big game.
Yeah.
Of the aforementioned
Game.
player. Yeah, there we go.
Aforementioned game. Anyway, we are back. Yes, we took last week off because I think me and Gabe are at the point where it's like, well, if we don't have the content, why roll? Right.
I mean, we could have came with a very skimpy
Yeah.
agenda here, but I think we let it plow over 1 week.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're at the point where I'm at least personally, I'm at the point where I'd rather have 35 really good episodes a year as opposed to 44 okay episodes. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at. At least that's my mindset. And I'm not saying that if we don't have material to cover that we won't come in, but if the material dictates we have stuff, then we have stuff. What do you think, Gabe? Does that sound good moving forward?
I mean, that's very reasonable quality versus quantity.
Absolutely.
As they say.
Absolutely. And I don't want to waste anybody's time. We are two grown adult men after all. And it is not necessarily an easy thing making sure that we get together every Sunday, you know?
Yeah.
So there is that. But yeah, we are back. Gabe, how's been your 2 weeks, man?
It's been all right. I've got no complaints. I slammed a bottle of chocolate milk on my way in. So you could say we're having a good Sunday.
Absolutely. Sunday before the big game. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna see how long I can carry that up. But yeah, we are back. For me, it's okay. I'm actually looking at my first week coming up. This week coming up is my first week in like 56-ish weeks that I don't have a training class.
Nice.
So I'm actually gonna have a week off where I might actually be able to maybe get caught up on paperwork and all that good stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Good copy.
Yeah. But other than that, this week was all right, I guess. But we have an agenda. We got to get through it. So let's go ahead and get through it. Have you seen anything about this Atari hotel?
Nothing at all.
I was not aware that Atari even had enough money to buy a hotel. But apparently, they are planning on opening up an Atari hotel here in Chicago. Yeah. Apparently, it's going to be very video game themed, obviously. And I guess they have one building in San Diego, and the outside of the building looks like an old school kind of Atari, kind of 2600.
I can dig it.
Kind of a look. And it's going to be very video game themed. They're going to be really diving into like the virtual reality kind of a setting. Kind of reminds me of Ready Player One.
A little bit.
Yeah. And I saw the mock-up of it, and it looks good. And my wife tagged me in it. She's like, you know what? I would not be against. I'm like, sweet.
Let's get some cabinets in there for some of our older fans.
Absolutely. And we'll probably check that out as soon as we can. But yeah, that was something that looked very interesting to me. And like I said, had no idea that Atari had money like that still. So good for them, right? And open up hotels, and hopefully it'll be fun. That's all we got on the notes for today. Now, this thing, I want you to go ahead and get going.
Sure. So we're into movies, TVs, and books. And I want to talk a little bit about, I saw a movie called The Color Out of Space. Do you know anything about this?
No idea.
So it is an adaptation of the, oh, sweet baby Jesus. I'm already. You see what it is, man. I come in prepared, and then it fucking slips. Of the same Lovecraft short story. There we go.
Okay.
And so they made one, I think in the 90s. They made one in like 2010s, and then they made it again.
Yep.
And so I went there. I went down to the Music Box Theater in the city.
We take a week off and look what happens, man.
Yeah, man. You just lose your rhythm, right?
Yep.
Saw it, and I'm kind of glad that my date didn't say anything, like forewarned me, and I'm glad I didn't look anything up because Nick Cage plays the leading like the Family Man, and he's absolutely fucking hilarious.
Okay.
But this movie takes a lot of cues from classic horror films like The Thing, Ash versus Evil Dead, things of that nature. A lot of good, proper body horror. Cheech is in it, which I thought was fucking hilarious. And this movie is like very borderline like B movie. It's one Ron Jeremy away from a B movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it was a very interesting adaptation. But that being said, I think like Lovecraft films and like the whole like cosmic existentialism is very hard to adapt onto the big screen.
Yeah.
I thought it was a goofy movie, man. And if it comes up on, Netflix or whatever, check it out, because there's a lot of like properly funny scenes, and there's also a lot of properly fucked up scenes where you're like, ooh, man.
So like, is it all practical? The body horror?
I want to say yes, because the effects were properly good.
Okay.
Like I said, I didn't actually do any research on this. I just went in, watched it, and then they had like the day of the release night interviews after the credits.
Okay.
So we watched those, and those are fucking hilarious, because there's.
You think if you would have walked in with research, do you think you would even have gone? Probably not, right?
I probably would have been like, man, why am I going to this? But Nick Cage simultaneously makes the movie, but also is like a detriment to his career. Because, all right, here's my thing, because this is leading into like the bigger conversation, right?
Okay.
Nick Cage 20 years ago was a very serious actor, and he was a very well-respected A-lister, right?
Yeah.
You could say that. And so I was telling this woman, I was like, hey, well, imagine if like Leo played the leading man. I'm sure you'd still get some of the comedy shining through. But there are some seriously fucked up parts in the movie where he does some like grotesque-ass shit, and the audience was just laughing. And I was like, this is like kind of fucked up, isn't it? Because we have this kind of precognition and this kind of... we're categorizing Nick Cage as like this goofy guy now, from like the fucking not the bees,
the
Wicker Man and all that shit prior. And I just think that his greatest strength is also his greatest detriment, because those like the parts of the movie that were meant to be funny were fucking properly funny. They were like really fucking good. You know what I mean? But the parts of the movie that like were supposed to be more serious, where and I don't want to give anything away, but like. There is some fucked up shit that this character goes through during the film, and the audience was laughing. And I was like, that is where Nick Cage as an actor lies currently, where no matter what he does, his kind of over-the-topness and his acting style always kind of rubber bands him back to that zone of comedy.
Absolutely. That's kind of funny, because there's definitely like, you definitely like he kind of became the face of bad acting or bad movies, and even Mel Gibson to a lesser extent, maybe not played it for comedy, but more of that kind of snooty, pretentious kind of action movie.
Absolutely.
And where Mel Gibson was kind of the equivalent to that, where like you said 25 years ago, leading man, fucking Braveheart, you know what I mean, and he had all that going, and now he's kind of like a parody on himself. But I like how like instead of kind of going the opposite route, try to break that, Nick Cage is like, fuck it, I'll
embrace it.
I'm gonna roll with it,
There was a in the interviews post credits, there was a thing where, because only the people on the stage had the mic, so somebody was asking a question, and they had like two mics going around, and like at one point all the actors were just nodding and stuff, and it was the funniest thing ever, because you couldn't even hear the guy in the audience asking the fucking question, and they're all just like, it was just so unintentionally funny.
Okay. So interesting. That, like you said, that may be something I may have to check out. That's kind of funny. Actually, me and the wife watched a movie, Half Buzzed, last night, and it's a movie I haven't seen in quite some time. And it's kind of I'm a fan of like end of the world. Well, you all right?
Yeah, I got Monster in my eye.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how the fuck it got up there, but
you're about to be real energized. You fucking take a straight line to your brain. Yeah. I'm a fan of like the weather disaster movies. So we saw The Day After Tomorrow yesterday.
Oh man, that movie is actually kind of good.
That's what I was gonna say. Okay, because I know that people like give the movie flack. It was definitely a slow paced film. But what do you want from a movie based on where the weather is the villain? Like what the fuck do you want?
Rewind the clock to I want to say like August, September of 2012, where the movie 2012 became like a religion, and people were like freaking out. You remember that?
Yes, I do. Yeah, absolutely. And I enjoy those styles of movie. I watched Geostorm. I did a quick review on that a couple months ago, and it was just fucking horrible. But this, I mean, there's definitely, if you look back, there's actually stuff in the movie that is very relevant to what's going on today. So as an example, like the U.S. government basically said, flee south, go south. This is like the only option that we have to survive is go south, right? And the Mexicans closed the border on the Americans. And then me and Adrian were, because we were semi-buzzed, so we were cracking up because they're like, nope. And basically the agreement was, okay, fine, we'll let you in, but you got to forgive all debt moving forward. they're like, fine, just let us in, please let us in. But yeah, so global warming obviously has become a much bigger deal since then as well, and it's kind of funny. I would definitely check it out again if I were you. If you haven't seen it in a while, like I said, there's definitely things you're just like, aha. Maybe some of these things did kind of come true. It's kind of scary, actually, in a weird kind of way.
You know, and then we come back to that argument where it's like, well, did the movies inspire culture or did the culture inspire movies? You know what I mean? Because there's always that like weird argument where, because Day After Tomorrow was what, 2010?
No, it's way earlier than that. I was a kid.
2005.
That's probably more in the ballpark, yeah.
And that was 15 years ago, and you're saying that some of it is like, you know, super relevant. So you're kind of wondering like who took cues from where. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And me and Adrian even had that conversation about the art imitates life thing. It was kind of scary, you know, and very interesting. And they had a scene with a boat because obviously Manhattan goes underwater before it freezes, and there's like this ship that like kind of creeps through. It's almost like a ghost ship that creeps through like the channels in between buildings. It's like, whoa, it's kind of
creepy dippy.
That was a little scary. And yeah, I mean, it's not horrible. It's actually low key kind of good. I liked it. I know it's kind of it gets like panned and stuff like that, but I kind of enjoyed it.
I don't think you can drop like a environmental movie, whether that be like, you know, disaster thriller like Day After Tomorrow or 2012. Or even just like a fucking nature documentary without getting some sort of clapback from.
Yeah, that's true. People thinking that it's like a fucking, you know, myth. People are out of their mind. Not gonna get into that, but we are not a political podcast. This is not what we do.
We need to say that before we start rolling every time.
Yeah, right. But I think it's kind of fun, and like I said, still some stuff still very relevant to what's going on today. So definitely check that out.
Good copy. Talking about Rian Johnson.
So, basically, Rian Johnson has
the new king of the Star Warsites.
Yeah, he put his name out there. He says, you know what? I want to direct an episode of The Mandalorian next season because obviously there's another season that's going to be coming out. I hope so because they definitely left us out on a gigantic cliffhanger, and we have to know what the fuck's going on with that. I verbally screamed out loud at the ending of that fucking season. But yeah, Rian Johnson wants to do something, and everybody's like, no. You can hear it's like all of a sudden what does Obi-Wan say? All of a sudden all voices screamed and then they were silenced. It was like that. That's what I feel like. Yeah, so Rian Johnson wants to do The Mandalorian. I think Rian Johnson is a good director. We've talked about this.
Yeah, the issue wasn't that he's a bad director. The issue is that he's a bad Star Wars director, and his vision didn't align with ours. Anyway, check out that episode. Yeah. But no, I totally agree with you, man. And this is kind of like an episodic thing, and it's not one of the big 9. So I think people would be more forgiving.
Absolutely.
That because how much can you possibly fuck up in 40 minutes? You know what I mean? You could fuck up a lot, right?
Well, my thought process is that as long as Favreau's still controlling the story, we're good. Because Rian Johnson, the actual filming, the way things were shot in Star Wars was pretty. In what's it called, Last Jedi? It was pretty good, you know.
My thought process is that I'm sure Favreau has the skeleton for the entire second season. You know what I mean?
I'm
or
sure
is writing it currently, right?
I bet he does.
And if he tosses Johnson a rib, and he's like, "Do whatever the fuck you want with this rib, cook it however you want, but it still has to fit back into place in regards to the skeleton."
Yeah,
you know, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I guess. So I guess we'll have to wait.
We're getting into food analogies before we even hit the music section.
That's good though. But yeah, so we'll see what that looks like moving forward. I think it'll be okay. Moving along, we have the Batman.
Started filming.
It's starting to film principal photography. Let's do a quick wrap up on who we know is casted and what they're doing. Robert Pattinson as obviously Bruce Wayne Batman. Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle / Catwoman. Paul Dano as Edward Nashton. What the fuck is that? The Riddler. Jeffrey Wright as Gordon. Who else we got? Andy Serkis as Alfred Pennyworth. That's fucking fantastic. And Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot.
Nice. I love Colin Farrell.
Yeah, so they got a little bit of a lot of villains in there. So that's good, I guess. There's no rule that has to be one per movie, right? So I guess we'll see what they do. Maybe it's just a setup for other movies moving forward. But yes, principal photography has started for the Batman. Matt Reeves, I believe, is the director. He posted it on his Instagram of the what's the thing called?
The clacky thing.
Yeah, the clacky thing that helps you keep time. That thing. And we're starting. And I guess we'll see what it looks like moving forward.
You excited?
Yeah.
I'm a little excited.
I'm looking forward to it a little bit.
I've come to that point where, you know, we always break down and kind of shit on movies that kind of don't live up to our expectation. But I'm kind of at that point where More content is more content.
Sure.
And I know we just made the argument of quality over quantity,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm kind of excited. I like Pattinson.
Yeah, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. He's not a bad actor. I think the Twilight thing is kind of an albatross around his neck, and I think no matter what he does, he could be.
It's the same thing as the Radcliffe argument. You know,
Yeah.
he's forever going to be Harry Potter.
Yeah, but
and
nobody
it's hard to get away from that.
Nobody hated Harry Potter.
No, because those films were not bad and egregious. You know what I mean?
The writing was good at the end of the day, but but yeah, I think this kid kind of gets that.
Oh man, imagine an alternate universe where Robert Pattinson was Harry Potter. Probably be okay.
It wouldn't be horrible.
No, but
Yeah.
just somewhere there's like an alternate timeline.
I mean, he was in Harry Potter, that one. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I totally forgot about Cedric.
yeah,
Diggory
he was totally Cedric
for a hot fucking minute.
I mean, so it is what it is.
And then Daniel Radcliffe could have been Cedric Diggory.
Yeah.
Anyway,
This is
so-
a dark train of thought that we've traveled down. But
I'm excited. Pattinson won me over with The Lighthouse. I think he's a good actor. And like I said, I think the shortcomings of the movie aren't going to be his fault. I think he's going to put his best foot forward, especially for a big role like Batman.
absolutely. So definitely cool. Well, obviously, me and Gabe will keep very close eyes on this moving forward, especially me being such a big Batman fan. We'll see what happens. Next up, Fantasy Island. Do you know anything about this?
Nope.
Oh, you're going to love it. It's the new Blumhouse production. Yeah.
I already love it.
Yeah, so basically, they go to this fantasy island and they get what they want. They live out their fantasies. However, it looks like these fantasies are starting to turn on them a little bit, and that's basically the premise of it.
Oh, I dig it. Part of the reason I like Brave New World so much is because it kind of played into that whole, we're living our best lives thing, but that's kind of also what's ruining them.
Correct.
I dig it, man.
Yeah. So I tagged my wife in, and she's like, yes, because she's anything Blumhouse. She's like, I'm all fucking over it because they are the best name in horror. Good or bad or indifferent based on
them and A24, yeah.
Yeah, that this is horror, So I love it, and hopefully it'll be good. It has basically the same actors from the fucking Truth or Dare thing. We're not gonna get into that, but yeah, this looks good.
Good copy. We're gonna keep a close eye on that. Hopefully, another great movie coming up.
Absolutely. This one.
Okay, so The Witcher is doing so well that Netflix decided they're gonna drop the Witcher animated series. But wait, all right, I know what you're thinking. Why?
Isn't that redundant?
I guess and my big argument for having something animated is that there's only so much you can do with practical effects and CGI and stuff like that, whereas some things just lend themselves very nicely to animation. Here's the part that's going to draw you in. You ready? The team behind the Witcher animated series is the same team that did The Legend of Korra.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's not we're not cheaping out here, buddy.
Okay.
We got some experienced people on roll for this.
All right, you got me, Gabe.
I told you.
I'm sold on that one. I like Legend of Korra a lot, actually. I liked it way more than I probably should have. But yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting, and now we kind of see this, because it was always Stranger Things was the baby girl, right? And now we see The Witcher kind of coming up, and everybody's excited. And now we're gonna get essentially a Witcher spinoff.
Yeah, we got that going. Don't forget, we have the He-Man thing that Kevin Smith is spearheading. We got that coming out soon
some
enough.
more Castlevania, which I thought was properly good too. The animation on that was phenomenal.
Still trying to get to that. I mean, Netflix is they're
the
around.
king of original series at the moment.
Yeah.
Probably. Well, until Disney drops another Marvel or Star Wars thing, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I really liked Hulu, but that was Looking for Alaska. Have you gone through that yet?
Not yet.
Oh my goodness, it's so good. But that was pretty good. But yeah, man, I like this. Like you said, more content is good.
You know what's funny? I think these streaming platforms, you can have the same argument that we had about these gaming platforms, about how everything's crossplay, this or that, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it's going to be the exclusives that draw you in.
Yeah.
We've
definitely made parallels between the stream, how it's not a gaming war anymore. It's a streaming war where everybody's got their own thing they're bringing to the table.
Well, now we could just say streaming war, period.
Yeah. It's kind of wild. So yeah, that's interesting. That's good. There's also a Mortal Kombat animated movie.
There's something out in the works at the moment, and
I think it's out.
Is it out?
Yeah, I think it's out on DVD or something like that. I have to look deeper into it. It's Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Fury. I think the clips I have seen of it look really fucking sick. So I'm going to have to look deeper into that. But
Mortal Kombat should just kind of play into the animated side.
For sure.
Definitely. I dig the whole, what was it called? The dark realism stuff that was coming around right before MKX. The web series.
Yeah.
That was properly good, man. But like I said, Mortal Kombat is forever a franchise that crazy shit's happening left and right. You got to lean into what medium is best for your franchise.
Absolutely. And they are doing that movie. I guess that they are working on that now with James Wan at the helm. which should be good. James Wan is a good director, so
Absolutely.
we'll have to wait and see what that looks like moving forward. But before we continue on, actually, we forgot to kind of talk about something that's kind of big that happened on Sunday when we did not roll the podcast. So Kobe Bryant passed away.
Yes.
With his daughter and 7 other individuals, some of which were children, 13 years old. And you know how me and Gabe are. We don't like to talk about much serious stuff on the podcast. And I'm not even pretending like I'm the largest Kobe Bryant fan ever. But at the end of the day, this was a guy who was trying to outlive his legacy or trying to become bigger than just a basketball player. And even though he may not have fully seen his vision in the end, he is bigger than the game, right? And may he rest in peace, man. It's a fucking horrible story. That fucking shot
out of the blue.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you're totally right. I couldn't have summed it up better. He was more than just the guy in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot more than that. He kind of became larger than life, honestly.
He won an Oscar last year for that animated short that he had based on his life and stuff.
Yeah, and so now every time you shoot a piece of paper into a trash can, we're still going to yell Kobe, but it's going to be a very different connotation to it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Kind of scary, kind of sad. Life is fleeting. And I feel so sorry for those little girls and stuff like that. That's horrible.
Absolutely.
Horrible,
May you rest in peace and everybody that came down on the helicopter.
Absolutely horrible. Moving along.
Let's talk gaming. All right. So Dying Light 2 has been delayed.
Yep.
Indefinitely?
No, not indefinitely. We don't know exactly how long, but I think it was slated for
April, I want to say, originally.
July, I was thinking. But point being, it's got pushed back, and we don't have a date yet, from what I'm hearing.
Which sucks, man, because Dying Light was such a good zombie game.
I've heard, yeah.
Okay, so the zombie, I did a whole fucking episode on this on exploration.
Mm-hmm.
Zombies as a gaming experience is hard to capture, man.
Yeah.
Like when you think great zombie games, there's 2 immediately that come to mind. You know, your favorite Call of Duty zombie line, and then Left 4 Dead,
or RE4.
And then Resident Evil, and then The Last of Us, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if you want to count those to an extent, that's like 4. We could probably find like 3 more that are truly great,
but there's like 300 of them total. You know what I mean? So the great ones are few and far in between.
Yeah, I think maybe we should hop on it this time, man. We've been itching to pick something new up, and I think we're both kind of in the headspace where, well, let's plow through it. Absolutely.
So that is a bummer, and just added to the list of delays that we've had going on recently with games getting pushed back. All for the better, you know. But damn, it sucks. It was looking like a hot and heavy year at the beginning of the year. Now slowly, all the big players are starting to slide back.
It's like with the albums, man. Everything comes out like when September 1st rolls around, and we get through like Labor Day weekend. It's just release after release after release. Absolutely.
But yeah, so Dying Light, I'm sorry, delayed, and we'll get you more when we know. Next up, Spider-Man 2 is in the works. So Spider-Man was the Insomniac games. They did Ratchet and Clank and stuff like that. Obviously, the last Spider-Man game did extremely well. People looked at it as kind of like the highlight of the console, and one of the highlights at least. And they're already working on number 2.
Good copy. I think that game did, well, right? But I think it showed that the Spider-Man gaming experience isn't dead. Because it's always been a part of our lives. You know, there's always kind of been a Spider-Man game that's up and coming or that's coming out, blah, blah, blah. And I think that revitalized the urge to push out more Spider-Man games.
Absolutely. And, if they have a good story to tell, this is kind of like the Arkham Asylum of, Spider-Man games.
That's a bold fucking claim, but
yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I think it's fair. I think a lot of people looked at it that kind of way. Not even just gameplay similarities, but just...
Maybe it's time we sit down and replay the Arkham games. Especially the first 2.
You know what's coming out next month? Or I guess coming a couple of days for the PlayStation Store for the fucking free game.
What?
The BioShock collection.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's
coming to Switch too. I'm gonna cop it for the Switch.
Maybe we'll do a BioShock.
I'm super excited for that.
Yeah,
man.
we should do that.
Super excited
because we haven't really done like an overarching view for like a gaming franchise. So we can kind of do that when we get through BioShock.
Oh no, have you played BioShock?
I've played portions of the first one. Never touched 2 or Infinite.
Oh Lord, we're gonna have a fucking heyday with this.
Okay, good. But yeah, so Spider-Man working out, and obviously we just kind of made plans to do a BioShock thing when we can get through that and complete it. So look forward to that. That should be fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This one's you.
Okay, so do you know what a data miner is? They're like people that sniff around for changes in data and stuff.
Yeah.
And so somebody sniffed around and found a ESRB rating I should say a PEGI rating because they found it was overseas.
PEGI 18. Go
ahead. So our friends over in the UK, right? So they found a PEGI rating for Mortal Kombat Online. And, so this is going to be MK1 2, and then I'm guessing 3 Ultimate are going to come out on the Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and all that good stuff, and it's probably going to come in a nice little collection, blah, blah, blah. What are your thoughts? Because I got some kind of big brain stuff ready for you.
Well, I know they've done this before. They did it last generation with the Mortal Kombat collection. They did have 1, 2, and UMK on there as well. I mean, I'm cool with it. I got no problems with it.
My dude, you know there was a UMK 3 port for the Nintendo DS, and then it got like banned off shelves for whatever reason.
Really?
Nintendo was like,
Really?
yeah. Well, because I actually saw that in store. Fun fact, and it disappeared one day. Anyway, here's my like thought process, right? Because Warner Bros. Now owns NetherRealm Studio, blah blah blah. Ed Boon, the regular kind of MK talk. Why is this just not the default thing for new generation consoles? Like, you'd imagine that when the PlayStation 5 comes out, you should just be able to get that from day one for the 10, 15, 20 bucks, whatever it is that they decide a proper price point is, right? Mm-hmm. I just think that that's the easiest fucking moneymaker you could do, because if you're into fighting games, you've at least played one of those, right? You know what I mean? If you've been in the scene for you or I like 20 plus years or even like 10 plus years, you've probably touched, I would say 3 is probably the classic MK most people dabble with, right?
Sure.
Throw it out there for $10, man. It's literally passive income. They don't have to do anything.
They just fucking bundle it and send it out.
Because we're at this point where we're not at the end of the Switch life cycle. We're nowhere near it. But there are rumors of a Switch Pro coming out sometime soon, right? Which is, I have thoughts about that too, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, we're towards that tail end. We're not dropping all the support, but I'd imagine in the next 2 years, we're going to get like the last good Xbox game, and then you're going to have the dudes trying to port everything over for a couple years, and then we're done. Yeah. Right? I mean, that's just usually how it goes.
Correct.
But it's like, why is this not available day one? Like, you could run this on a fucking toaster in 1998, you know?
Well, I don't know about that.
But we have a fucking PlayStation 4.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the plan with that moving us forward, but I'm with it. I'm sick because everybody talks about the arcade classics, right? And they put Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and UMK 3 in a bundle, right?
But nobody loves 4.
Why is 4 not get put in a bundle? It was
the first of the 3Ds, man.
But it was in arcades. It was still an arcade game.
So was X, technically.
Well, it wasn't an official arcade. Like, that was built.
A custom cabinet.
Yeah, that was a custom cabinet. I'm talking about it was actually put in arcades. Quan Chi's goofy face.
Yeah, I remember that.
Was on the side of the fucking.
That's a really good question. I'd imagine that'd be a massive pain in the ass to do, because you're going from 2D to 3D. But there's only so much I can assume. I've never like ported a game over like that. But that is a good thing. Like, if you're doing 1, 2, 3, which are pretty much the same fucking thing at the end of the day, why not just do 4 on top of it?
It's really not that hard, and it's not like the hardware was that different.
Here's an idea. You package. I'd even say toss out like 1 and 2, man. I'd just say go 3 Ultimate, go 4, go Shaolin Monks, and then take your pick from 9 and one of the other 3D era ones, man. And then just charge $60 for that, and people will buy it.
And like a
bundle.
Okay.
Well, because if you look on Steam, Activision has an Activision bundle. It's $300 some, but you get every Activision game out there. You get the Call of Duties. Well, it's probably more than 300 at this point. It's probably like $800, but you get all the Call of Duties. You get this and that. You know what I mean? Like, why doesn't NRS just go, you get 9, you get 3 Ultimate, you get 4. I'm going to say maybe Deception or Deadly Alliance, one of those two. $60, you get 4 or 5 games.
Deadly Alliance. I like Deadly Alliance better than Deception.
Yeah, it was properly good, right?
Yeah, I thought.
But you get a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, MKX. Dude, I was in rooms the other day. It's still fucking going strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's 18 billion environmental interactions on MKX. Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, really.
18 billion, because they have the little stats in the corner.
Yeah.
When you're in, like,
yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, 18 billion. This game's been out a little less than 5 years at this point.
Yeah. That was a good fucking game too, man. How many started?
I still like it better than 11, man.
Well, I played the Joker a little bit today.
He's fun.
He's fucking fun.
He's a lot of fun. Probably the most unique character since, I'd say Devora, honestly, because Devora's playstyle would really kind of.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Really kind of fucked you up. You know what I mean?
That's pretty fair. Yeah, he's I think it was a good fit because you were allowed to let him kind of go bonkers. You know what I mean? Like the way that
it wasn't the DC versus MK crossover bullshit.
Correct. Yeah, he went a little bit nuts with that. But yeah, he's kind of fun. But yeah, that's interesting. I mean, we'll see what happens with that moving forward. I mean, I got the fucking arcade cabinet right there. If I want to play one,
no,
two,
absolutely. That's a whole different.
Yeah.
That's like a CD versus a record. You know what I mean? We can argue all day about which is better, but at the end of the day, it's whatever you prefer.
Absolutely.
You have the record here.
Yeah.
But I'm saying CDs are easy. You know what I mean? I could give you my CD and you could plug it into anywhere the fuck you want.
This is true.
So,
definitely.
Good stuff. Let's talk music, news, and reviews. So I went to go see The Used last night.
Yeah, how was that?
Man, what do you want me to tell you? These guys are veterans. They've been going at this for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of things. When the set started, The Used fucked so hard that they blew a breaker at the bottom lounge. Fun fact, on the opening song. And so Bert was just up there talking for like a couple minutes.
Get out of here.
No, dead fucking serious.
I've never seen that.
Lights went out. All the instruments went out. The only thing that was up was the house lights and his microphone.
Get out of here.
So for like 10 minutes, he was just telling stories and stuff.
That's fucking sick, man.
Yep. Mm-hmm. What else?
Dinner with Bert. You had a dinner with Bert.
Yeah, right. Some woman up front on the barricade got her glasses knocked off, and she got super upset. So Bert was giving her shit.
Okay.
Like, oh, this is what you get, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he was doing the whole like safe zone, blah blah blah, that stuff. And I was like, oh man, we're gonna get political at this show, huh? But next song, he calls her upstage, and they fucking jam out. And I was like,
funny.
He's the perfect blend of like sweet to asshole.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like a mango habanero mix there with Burt. I almost said Burt Reynolds, Burt McCracken.
I mean, maybe with Burt Reynolds, you don't know. You never met Burt Reynolds, have you?
Yeah, I guess you're right. A couple of other. They played all the bangers. Taste of Ink. Well, actually, no, they didn't play all the bangers because I was waiting for Blood on My Hands, but they didn't play that, which I'm kind of upset about. But yeah, Taste of Ink, Bird and the Worm, Blow Me, all the
How did it sound in the little venue?
Oh, man,
tasty.
I've never been to a bad show at the Bottom Lounge, my friend, and I'm loving that they're doing small tours. I guess the big announcement here, aside from The Used is still, they may be approaching 40, but they're still playing like they're 18, 19, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing interesting about that. That's what's to be expected from a band that's been relevant, right?
Yes, sir.
I think the big piece of news here is that Bert pretty much said we're touring with MCR.
Yeah, that when you brought that up, I thought that was kind of interesting because they used to be really good friends, My Chemical Romance and The Used, and I guess there was a gigantic falling out a couple years ago, 10 years ago at this point. And when you said that, I'm like, whoa, maybe I thought he would maybe be kidding or something like that.
I mean, well, okay, let me get this straight. He did not at one point say we're touring with MCR. He said, yeah, I got a call from a friend and about a reunion. And he's like, hey, do you guys want to open for us on our big North America tour? It's got to be MCR. You know what I mean?
I don't know, Gabe.
It's got to be. I mean, what other big band got back together recently? Rage Against the Machine? Oh, actually, that wouldn't be a bad fit either. That wouldn't be a bad fit.
But the thing that's throwing me is the friend thing because, like I said, I hear they don't get along anymore. They're not friends anymore.
Right. I mean, granted, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And granted, MCR hasn't been together.
He still flips them off in that fucking Take It Away. He still does that, when they told.
He was doing that all night, man. I don't know what.
Okay. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
That's what he announced. They're dropping an album in April, which I don't know if it has or hasn't been confirmed online by. I don't know. Follow Alan Harrington. He probably knows.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty much it, man. They put on a good live show. They played their 15 songs. And
how was the opening bands?
I didn't see the opening band. We showed up kind of late, and you know how parking is down there.
True.
So we were kind of swerving around left and right, and we showed up, and the Used were setting up, and I was like, "Cool, this is fine."
Works. Yeah, it works for sure. Excellent. Yeah, man. The Bottom Lounge got a show coming up in a couple of months at this point.
Which one? The Code Orange show?
Yeah. So did we talk about that? We didn't even talk about that at all. Fucking Code Orange is going on tour with Jesus Piece, Machine Girl, and there's somebody else that I'm missing at the moment.
I think it's so cool seeing who's friends with who, and I'm not about that like the Twitterverse and they have beef with each, because I like genuinely enjoy seeing that like the Code Orange guys and like the Jesus Piece guys are like super tight homies.
Yeah.
Like same way that like Knocked Loose and like Every Time I Die are.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know, man. I think that's good shit.
Yeah, they're going on tour. I texted my wife. I'm like, can we go? Because they're Code Orange is probably on top of my list right now. Maybe the next up next is probably like North Lane or something like that.
For big releases or just shows?
No, just wanting to see them. They're on my bucket list, so I wanted to see them like really bad, and because I've never seen them before. So, yeah, man, that's something I'm gonna be into. I got my ticket already. I'm ready to go. The wife said you can go. I'm like, all right, because she's abandoning me.
Good copy.
Yeah.
Well, if the Beamer doesn't need too much attention, I'll happily go with you, sir.
But yeah, so that's coming up. I'm bringing my mouth guard and my football pads.
Wow. Okay.
She's like
cargo shorts, football pads.
She said, I don't care what happens. She's like, you decided you wanted to go. If you get hit in the mouth, that's on you. I'm like,
know our dental insurance. Plan accordingly.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So that's coming up. I'm going to see Devil Wears Prada coming up in a couple of.
What are they playing?
They're playing with We Came as Romans. They're doing the We Came.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Tour. Yeah, with Dayseeker. So
I thought you said Devil Wears Prada. I was like, oh, they're headlining, but I totally forgot about the We Came as Romans 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, for sure. That happening. Every Time I Die is playing a Goose Island sponsored event, which is like my two favorite things.
I got tickets.
Did you?
You know what's funny? I bought the tickets and I was like, this is probably the only band where I'm never like, oh, let me like sleep on it or give me a couple days. It's just click.
Yeah, right.
click. Just take the money out of my account.
And this is something that I talked about like years ago.
Okay, so it is at the Metro.
Yeah.
But if we can get them,
yeah,
or Mike and the guys, at the distillery, at the acoustic room. Oh shit.
Yeah, that would bang pretty hard. But I think it opens up the door. I think if this does well, and I mean, Every Time I Die has never had an issue with like unprofessionalism or anything like that.
Well, maybe with Disney.
Well, if I mean, Disney got beef with anybody who says "fuck" in their songs, but I think if they represent themselves well, then maybe that's something Goose Island's like, huh.
Well, even the fact that Goose Island is sponsoring this show already shows that there's somebody at Goose Island that goes, hey, you guys fuck with Every Time I Die? Because I do.
Maybe, for sure. And then maybe they're like, maybe these hardcore guys aren't assholes. Maybe we should do something.
So, yeah, I'm going to be drinking 312 Green Line all night. I'm going to be fucking throwing fists.
You rat bastard.
You know what's funny? I got Greg on this, like, weird hook now. It's like when you catch a fish and, like, you pull it and it's, like, through its lips. I'm like, hey, you want to go see Every Time? Yep. Cool. Tickets bought.
Sounds good. Yeah, man.
All right, B. You're going to hold my flannel now.
You've corrupted that poor young man. All right, moving along.
So, some more bad news. Ozzy Osbourne confirmed with Parkinson's disease. You know what, man? He's very old, and he looks like an old Louis Vuitton bag, honestly, at this point, him and Steven Tyler. And it's no secret. The man liked drugs. He liked getting fucked up in his youth. And we're kind of surprised he lived this long.
Yeah.
It's a very sad diagnosis to see the Prince of Darkness now be, fucking shaken and everything. But, things come with having that title.
Yep.
And you earned it by every single means. But maybe it's time we slow things down a bit.
Correct. Now, I agree with you. Yes, it's very sad, and you don't wish that upon anybody, but the man lived his life in the fast lane, and I think at minimum, we should be happy he's still alive. You know what I mean?
We should be glad it's just Parkinson's, honestly.
It could be something a whole lot worse.
I mean, at the end of the day, thousands, if not millions of people are diagnosed with it in a year, and those people may or may not live fulfilling lives. Mm-hmm. At least, Ozzy affected millions of people out there. You know what I mean? Every single metal band you see, every single, like, even indie rock band, anything along those lines, they have a favorite Ozzy song.
Correct.
I do, you do, and that's just what it is, man. At the end of the day, you got to respect that people die.
Absolutely. So it is what it is. Maybe you'll slow down a little bit.
Good stuff.
More bad news.
Trav
is leaving, or has left officially, Varials. And I cry every time. Every time I cry.
You know what, man? I respect it, because I always say that, like, mental illness is such a big prevalent issue, and I feel like maybe even sometimes we brush it aside. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes we'll joke about it, but it is a big thing. You know what I mean? And he left for, his own sanity, whatever it was at the end of the day, whatever made him leave, and I can respect that. And yeah, now everybody wants to be the new fucking Varials vocalist.
Yeah, that was the kind of the
stop emailing us.
Yeah, they're like, yo, stop hitting us up. We got a vocalist. He's a nice guy. We're hitting the road. Like, well, no, basically they said, well, all things are a go. They're going to be going through all their tours coming up. They got one with Spite coming up, and that there are no changes to the plans that they're going to be.
What is with this? I don't know, because I would say that they're kind of at their peak relevancy right now, especially with In Darkness that dropped last year, which was whoa, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh, I mean,
Major league.
yeah, that's some big boy shit right there. You know what I mean?
Major league.
But what an interesting time. But I guess your mental issues don't have they don't work around a timeline. I guess.
Did you see? I mean, because you say you don't really fuck around on Twitter like that, but did you see the dude covering the song? He's like, okay, let me do it. He put peanut butter in his mouth and he started screaming fucking up Varials. It was so fucking funny. That had me dying the other day.
That's wild.
Yeah, so it's sad. I liked him a lot. I think he's a really talented individual.
He's still doing heavy stuff though, according to him.
Is he?
Because I follow him on Twitter. He's fucking hilarious. Him and Brendan Murphy have like the best friendship. That's another good one.
Yeah.
But he's like, I want to make music like this, and he posted some Deftones stuff, and I was like, I can get behind this.
Yeah, with him?
I can get behind this.
Yeah, with his style of vocal, I think that'd be really interesting because he kind of has that kind of.
He wants to sing, man.
Yeah, I think he does. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Because they do got fucking vicious screams. We've heard that. But maybe he's got something else to offer. We'll see. Nothing wrong with that.
We're gonna transplant some frontmen, and we're gonna put Trav at the face of Sworn In.
Okay.
And we're just gonna transplant this Pennsylvania man into Grays Lake, Illinois, and we're gonna take whoever the frontman is for Sworn In, and we're gonna put them in Varials.
Watch, it is the fucking current vocalist for Sworn In covering for Varials right now. That'd be kind of funny.
You telling me I gotta drive 10 hours for practice once a week?
For sure. So yeah, that's sad, but it is what it is.
It's like the draft picks now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Let me get Brendan Murphy. Oh, fuck no.
For sure.
So we got no. Actually, let me just verify that because I do try and keep up with these singles.
There was actually one that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to bring yours up first?
Yeah, we actually had Amity Affliction drop a new song. Catatonia, whatever.
Yeah, interesting. I think people are severely underestimating how heavy this Amity album is going to be.
Yep.
Because I think they've almost sort of conditioned us to the last two albums.
Yeah.
And even the last three, because Let the Oceans Take Me was on the softer side of Amity work.
Poppier, definitely poppier.
And, nothing bad with that. We both love that album.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're going to come out, in their jock straps, and they're going to start, helicoptering.
Just their jock straps?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, man, it was definitely, all the songs so far have been really good. And might be one of those dark horse candidates, maybe. Maybe crack a list or two near the end of the year. But yeah, man, it's a good song overall. But yeah, I haven't really been keeping track of singles this year. It's been a long week.
Good copy.
Plus, we had some in-depth things to talk about.
They're playing in like Belvedere, Illinois, which I looked up because I was like, where the fuck is it? Because I know like pretty much everything with like an hour and some change within this area. I'm like, where the fuck is Belvedere? They're playing in the middle of nowhere.
Is that the Apollo Theater or whatever it's called?
I have no idea what the venue is. I just know there's a big ass Walmart there. They might be playing in the Walmart.
No, because my sister saw Ice Nine Kills there not too long ago.
Interesting.
So I've seen a lot of that recently.
Kind of strange that I don't know. Does it work better that way for when you're driving?
Maybe.
I mean, Chicago's an hour and some change.
Maybe it's closer proximity to like St. Louis or something like that.
Yeah, that's probably it. Honestly.
I mean? Yeah. So that's interesting moving forward. But yeah, we got these two things, and I want you to get started with that.
Okay, so Silent Planet redropped an album called The Night God Slept Redux. Okay, so I want to start this off by saying August Burns Red did it. Silverstein did it. We're going to see a lot of veteran players in the scene start doing it. This is going to be the new popular thing to do. Take your album that blew you up, the album that people love and know you for, and then, put new vocal techniques, put better production, put this, put that. I'm not surprised if A Day to Remember is going to want to redrop Homesick or something along those lines.
I don't know about that one.
What Separates Me From You, and Their Name Was Treason, whatever the fuck they want to do. They have a great discography for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Silent Planet said, yeah, let's take a shot at it.
Yeah, sure.
Now, let me start off by saying that Silent Planet is the current king of re-releases and reduxes, because The Night God Slept Redux versus the original, it is night and day, and it is so fucking scary of how big of a leap. Like, one small leap for, Garrett Russell, one giant leap for Silent Planet in the metalcore community. Did you listen to these two back to back?
No, I did not. It's been a while since I listened to the original release, so I gave it in with clean ears, and I know the songs fairly well. I mean, they're not
Wasteland, The Well, Depths, all that good stuff.
And I'm like, yeah, that's definitely different. It's not exactly the same. It's not just cleaner instrumentation. There's differences. They've chosen to maybe arrange the songs slightly different, maybe push this forward and push this back versus what they had available to them before. And yeah, man, it was good stuff. I mean, the album itself, the first time around, was pretty fucking fantastic, and the changes are good. And I think it deems it relevant. It deems it not a waste of time. Because I think if you just slap a new coat of paint on it,
yeah, you just give the album art a different.
Yeah, if it's just basically, if it's the same thing, which is kind of just updated production, then it's kind of a waste of time. But if you're gonna kind of take a different approach to these albums, if you're gonna try to emphasize different things, I think that's kind of unique. Because even with August Burns Red, it was just kind of slicker productions. Everything sounded better, but it wasn't exactly a different look.
Here's my
at
thing.
The song, at the same song.
I hate bringing this up because I feel like every time we mention ABR, this argument comes up. They're flying so fucking high right now that if that jet drops 100 feet, you're not going to notice. Or if it goes up another 100 feet, you're not going to notice. Whereas Silent Planet is like the 2-man propeller plane. This is like what were the two guys' names that made the plane?
The Wright brothers.
The Wright brothers. This is the difference between them flying 20 feet over your house and them flying 150 feet above your house. And I think because they've only been together, I want to say like under 10 years. Silent Planet, 2012. I want to say
sounds about right.
And The Night God Slept came out 2013, 14-ish.
Right, yeah.
It's been 5 years, let's just say, and even 5 years, and the jump is insanity. From everything from the little stuff, from the way the album was produced, to the atmosphere, to the vocal delivery, to the bigger stuff like the fucking guitar playing and the clean vocals and the fucking drums. Oh my God, what's going on here, guys? Holy shit. I love it, man. I truly think that maybe we should rethink our approach to this. Maybe younger bands should be doing this, saying, listen, I know all of you guys loved our, our first EP, but we were young, we were dumb, and we were unskilled musicians. And we were broke. We were producing off an 8-track in my drummer's basement, right? Now let's do it the right way. And let's do it with a fresh set of eyes, a fresh set of ears. Let's approach it that way. Because like I said, ABR went and did, I already forgot the album. Messengers. And it was good. But that's all I can say about it. Because The Night God Slept, it's like The Night God Slept versus The Day God Slept, right? That's the fucking big thing here is you see that jump.
Did you write that one down, Gabe?
No, I just came up with it on the fly. Okay. And it is a very tangible
difference. For sure.
I love it, man. I'm going to go see them on the 29th of February, which happens once every 4 years. It's going to be them and Van Animate. The whole fucking trifecta. So that's going to be nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Oh, and Garrett's girlfriend was like, play Lower Empire or I'm going to be upset. So I think they're going to play Lower Empire. Oh, that's going to be a tasty one live.
Yeah, I haven't seen them since the Warped Tour, so they maybe do. They maybe do soon enough. With that, we got a gigantic career in review. One of my favorite bands. One of them. Formidable years, these guys. I almost died during seeing them one time. I'll tell that story in a minute. This week, in Career in Review, we are doing metalcore outfit from Arizona called The Bled. Oh, yeah.
There's so much to say about this band and growing up with, and they're very much part of skate culture, Viva La Bam, and even just general degeneracy. It's hard. It really is, because if you made a list of top 10 metalcore bands that were like grossly underappreciated,
number one, probably.
Easily top 3, right?
Yeah.
Them, From Autumn Dashes. There's probably a couple of other dudes we could slap on there, right? That just, I don't know, maybe burned out too quickly. Maybe people just didn't notice enough. Whatever the case is, these guys went for 11 years from 2001 to 2012. And like you said, they're a metalcore outfit. They were a metalcore outfit out of Tucson, Arizona. Oh, man. You want to start with the nitty gritty? They dropped an EP called His First Crush in 2001, and then with another EP called The Bled in 2002. This was all transferred onto Past the Flask in 2003. Now, Past the Flask, let's just start off by appreciating that album name. Yeah. Because when I say those words to you, you probably think of some old burly dude with like Jack Daniels and like this like little tin can. That's exactly what the fuck you get out of this album too. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's just an assault on your ears, man. They went for it. You know what I mean? They're like, well, you never know. We're going to take these things that we've done before and kind of just fucking assault you and slap you around a little bit. But you're grateful. You're like, wow, that was a good ass kicking that I just took. And I kind of want that guy to be my boxing coach. That's what happened with this. And Yeah, it's just fucking. It's just balls to the wall, brutal, man. It's crazy, and it's funny because production wise, it's not like the most polished thing in the world, which I think kind of tells it tells the story of the album almost. That it almost feels like, okay, well, let's all write a song at the same time. Let's just fucking play and go. And it feels like you're sitting in a basement watching your buddy's band kind of rehearse, but you're like, wow, they're really fucking good, aren't they?
They're the band that you know is going to start playing at bigger bars and then slowly venues and then festivals, and then before you know it, the Bled is a household name. But we simply never got to that point.
Correct.
So the world, I think, didn't know what to expect in 2003 when Past the Flask came out, and they had money because this is when they signed onto a label.
Yep.
And got all that stuff transferred over, and they were just like, well, fuck it, this is our first album. This is all our old stuff and some new stuff.
Yeah.
And I think, like Red Wedding, you know who's Seatbelt, the classic, the Bled songs that just sound like your amplifier is in 10 feet of sludge and you're trying to, play arpeggios off that shit. That's what the Bled sounds like. But 2 years later in 2005, when Found in the Flood came out. Ooh, I think there's a line in Last American Cowboy that sums up this, and you already know which fucking line I'm talking about, that sums up this album very perfectly. The composer just went deaf. Holy shit. Talk to me, man.
So in 2007, I saw the Bled for the first time. They were playing side stage to the Linkin Park tour with My Chemical Romance and Taking Back Sunday. Yeah, fucking digest that real quick. The Last American Cowboy played, and I think it was like my first big exposure to them. And me and my sister saw them, and we went to the crowd, and we almost died. Mm-hmm. I almost died to Last American Cowboy.
Did you brace yourself?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. Apparently not. And I didn't brace myself well enough because I remember too, because the guy's like, this is our last song, and it's just like, break, and the fucking crowd. And keep in mind, I was a much lighter individual back then. I was 13 years old or whatever. So yeah, man, I think I was off the floor probably for a good 2 minutes of Last American Cowboy. I don't think my feet were even touching the ground. That's how tightly packed that crowd was in Tinley Park that day. And we almost died. My sister started to freak out. And we're like, you know what? This is our last song in the crowd for a while. So, yeah, I almost died to Last American Cowboy.
That's not the most goddamn Bled thing I heard all day. All right, let's talk about, I guess, what happened and then the significance of the Bled and why they mean so much to us and probably the metalcore community. The Bled suffered the same fate as many early 2000s bands did. They went through lineup changes and lineup changes and lineup changes. The only OG members left in the final lineup is Jeremy Ray Talley, I want to say, and he's from 2001 to 2012. This dude spent 11 years in this outfit. And then James Munoz, which was from 03 to 2012, so he was on Past the Flask, and he spent 9 years. Everybody else flip-flop, man. Bass guitar, a backup guitar, and drummer. Constantly rotating shifts. And that's never a good thing, especially in a smaller outfit such as this.
Correct.
Now, I want to say part of the problem that led to the next two albums, which were, if I'm not mistaken, are Heat Fetish, or Silent Treatment in 2007 and Heat Fetish in 2010. These two albums weren't bad, but I don't think there was the same level of delivery and care presented as the first two did. And I say that very sparingly because when you listen to Past the Flask and Found in Flood, they're violent, they're brutal, and it feels like you're in a fucking swarm of bees or something. You know what I mean? You're just trying to keep away.
Yeah.
Whereas Heat Fetish, Silent Treatment was almost a bit too refined.
I agree.
It was a little bit too clean.
Yep.
And maybe the production was too good. You know, there's a lot of good stuff that guys like Will Putney can do. There's also some of that sheen, maybe not sheen, maybe some of that dirt on your favorite set of boots. You know what I mean? You like them because they're dirty and you can just go through mud and not give a shit. And when you clean them and polish them off, it's just, I don't know, man, not the same. Now you don't want to get them dirty no more.
Correct. Yeah. I think there's definitely something to be said where I think maybe they released albums too close together. I think that might have been a thing. I think they felt the pressure to kind of keep
because the big albums were 03, 05, 07, and then 2010.
Yeah. And I think they just kept, maybe they burned it at both ends because I know they were relentlessly touring them the same time too. And I don't think they took stock in their personal selves either. So, yeah, it's sad because I did like Silent Treatment. They had a song in one of the Tony Hawk games. It was just like
totally left field. Yeah, not the Bled at all.
Well, no, not just, it was fast and it was intense, but it was just weird. Yeah, man. The thing about the Bled is that
House of Suffering. It was, by the way.
No. It was another one. Hold on. They had another
American Wasteland.
No, not American Wasteland. You're thinking of something else. I'm looking at. Ooh, what's the name of that? Starving Artist.
Okay.
Yeah. That was in Project 8.
Mm.
No, Proving Ground. So yeah, just that Tony Hawk, alumni, they have an impact on the culture. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say they have a bad album, but you could definitely sell it. Like I said, like you said, the quality definitely jumped up, but the songwriting kind of got muddled in that.
And you said it best, man. That grit is what made them, and once you wash it away, now we get to examine things a little bit closer into the lens.
Mm-hmm.
And their instrumentality isn't bad. Their vocal writing isn't bad. Their vocal delivery is by no means bad.
Mm-hmm.
But just when you take a band that was meant to play shows at the Bottom Lounge and your buddy's basement and just dirty, grimy, like 100-cap bars, and you put them in arena. Well, they never played in arena, right? But once you put them in this sort of next category where they're like, I want you to make the cleanest gent album ever, which they didn't, but that's what we're going to look at it as, because they went from, like we produced this ourselves, took a couple months, but whatever, to we got a producer and he's thinking one thing, we're thinking another thing, this and that, man. It's like sifting through gold in the 1800s, like those cowboys, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When you get a dirty chunk of gold, you want to wash it off, but it's a very different thing than having like brown gold as opposed to clean gold, and one is preferred in this instance.
Absolutely. So that's definitely. I think they could have easily been in kind of the same kind of category as like an Every Time I Die, as far as like groundbreaking and kind of establishing that kind of early 2000s kind of hardcore style, and I think they were equally as important, very underrated, and I think they need to get more credit. I think people need to look at the Bled and be like, wow, these guys were kind of groundbreaking when they came out. Big deal. They kind of changed the landscape of kind of the hardcore, metalcore style.
You know what's funny? I was rewatching Viva La Bam, and a couple of like Red Wedding came on, and a couple of other Bled songs, and they're definitely
ingrained in that
lifestyle, in that culture. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And it's just kind of an interesting thing. I wish they would come back. I really do. If they did a reunion
like 5
tour,
shows.
Yeah, if they did a reunion tour, I'd be all fucking over it. And I guess we'll have to wait and see. But the Bled is definitely a band that's severely underrated. It's actually one of Kev's favorite bands of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he looks like it.
Yeah, right? One of his favorite bands of all time, because I talked about the one time. He's like, bro, I fucking love the Bled. And we had a whole conversation about it. But yeah, man.
So why do you think they were so significant, man? Because we say one thing and the general population says another thing. But
I just feel like they were one of the first in that kind of that, like I said, that early 2000s kind of hardcore style, where a lot of bands, whether they knew it or not, were kind of ripping them off. Especially with that kind of that grimy production style and that stripped down. I think stripped down is the word I'm looking for. And people didn't know it, but these guys were revolutionary.
I think my big thing is that the Bled did what they did in one studio album, what takes most bands 2 or 3 to do. Right from the get-go, they established a sound and a personality for the band.
Definitely.
Because whenever you hear a Bled song come on, you may not know the lyrics. You may not even know the title.
Yeah.
But you
know
know
it's the Bled.
You know it's the Bled.
For
and
sure.
I think that's important. When you hear that guitar tonage, when you hear that coming through the mic, I think that's what's most important, the recognizability and how well that transcends into the musical realm. Because how many times have we reviewed an album on this podcast where we're like, yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
But you could clearly tell who influenced this, who influenced that.
Yeah.
And kind of like, oh, well, it feels like Aldi, like Sempiternal Light, like Diet Sempiternal or something, right?
Correct.
But then you get guys like this that, like I said, one studio album, you're like, I kind of hear some of this, but I mean, it's hard to tell, man.
Yeah.
It's really hard to tell because they're out there, they're swinging in the fucking Arizona sun, 110 degrees, and they're saying, let's play hardcore shows.
That's funny because that's what the vocalist sounds like. He sounds like he walked through a desert in Arizona and somebody's like, okay, sing. He's like, ah! You know what I mean? Because he had no fucking water in his vocal cords.
You got water? No, we got whiskey.
Basically. So yeah, man, I think that was the Bled in a nutshell. We love them. We wish they would come back. Give it another look.
Come to Tid the season.
Absolutely. Yeah, sure, right?
Honestly, if there's anybody to bring them back, probably every time I died. They brought back the fucking Messingers.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, then that was our career and review on the Bled. We'll keep you guys updated on who we decide to do in the future. Because like Gabe said, once we start to serialize things is when it starts to get watered down a little bit, and we don't want to do that because I do enjoy this segment. Other than that, was that all we got?
I think that's all we got. Let's go watch the big game.
The big game, the big game.
we got 20 minutes till the big game.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here because we got to watch the big game. And thank you guys for checking out this episode of the Second City Kids podcast. We'll see you guys next time for episode 149 of the Second City Kids podcast.
149.
Yeah, and we will see you guys whenever that is. Deuces. Thank you guys for joining us this week on the Second City Kids podcast. You can like us on iTunes, Google, anywhere else podcasts are found. Any comments, questions, or concern, you can email us at secondcitykids@gmail.com. Until next week, folks, deuces.